Rapper Eazy has died after a battle with AIDS.
He was first admitted to a Los Angeles hospital a month ago.
He never even knew he was HIV positive.
I have never believed that my father died of full-blown AIDS. I have always believed that something else happened, and I'm afraid of what that might be.
In the grand finale, it wasn't a blazing gun that silenced the gangster rapper. It was the stealthy creep of AIDS. Shockwaves hit the world in 1995 when Eazy-E declared he'd been dealt a bad hand with the disease.
And one of the pioneers of gangster rap, as the leader of the group NWA, has revealed he has AIDS.
And just like that, a month later, he was gone. But the story didn't end there. No, the rumor mill churned out more tales than a campfire ghost story. Conspiracies bubbled up like boiling stew, with friends and fans refusing to swallow the bitter pill. Everyone cried, Eazy was snuffed out. So you're here for the scoop, the dirt, the down low on Eazy-E's unbelievable departure? Buckle up, we're about to shed light on what really happened to Eazy-E in this video. Death and conspiracy. Let's start with the conspiracies. Eazy-E's connection to a controversial group called the Nation of Islam makes his death more mysterious. When he was in the hospital before he died, some of the nation's security people were there, which raises questions about whether they were somehow involved in his death and what their reasons might have been. To shed light on this theory, we turn to BG Knockout, a hip-hop artist and close friend of Eazy-E, who provided an interview to Hip Hop DX in 2011. Knockout recounted a significant incident that occurred before Eazy's fallout with his manager, Jerry Heller. According to Knockout, members of the Nation of Islam, some of Minister Louis Farrakhan's right-hand men, stormed into Ruthless Records' office in Chicago. These Nation of Islam members went to Jerry Heller's office demanding Eazy-E's presence. Eazy obliged and entered the conference room with them, where they engaged in a secretive discussion that lasted for hours. When Eazy emerged from the meeting, he appeared visibly shaken, as if something significant had transpired. The question arises, what could have transpired during that meeting? Did the Nation of Islam play a role in Eazy-E's death? Some speculate that the sect, known for its strong beliefs and controversial actions, may have had ulterior motives. Eazy's connection to the Nation of Islam might have made some people target him because they didn't like the group's beliefs or wanted to use his influence in the music business. It is worth noting that the Nation of Islam had a significant presence in the rap community during that era. Many artists, including Eazy-E, found solace and support within the organization. However, the Nation of Islam's involvement in Eazy's life took a dramatic turn when they confronted him and his manager, Jerry Heller. The aftermath of that meeting led to a series of events that ultimately changed the course of Eazy's career and personal life. The idea that the Nation of Islam played a role in Eazy-E's death becomes more believable when we look at what happened before he died. Eazy had just fired his manager Heller and some family members because he thought they were stealing money. This decision was a big deal in Eazy's life and might have caused problems with the Nation of Islam. While the exact details of what occurred during that fateful meeting remain unknown, the impact it had on Eazy-E's life cannot be ignored. But since there's no solid proof, it's just a theory people are curious about. Jerry Heller, Eazy-E's manager, is at the center of another compelling theory surrounding the rapper's untimely demise. The theory suggests that Heller, driven by greed and a desire for control, played a role in Eazy's death. The strained relationship between Eazy-E and Heller began when Ice Cube left NWA due to his belief that Heller was not giving him his fair share of royalties. This rift within the group created tension and mistrust, ultimately leading to Eazy's decision to fire Heller and his relatives from Ruthless Records. BG Knockout revealed a crucial event that happened right before Eazy got sick. Eazy had a bad bronchitis attack and had to stay in the hospital overnight. Surprisingly, the very next day, even though he was clearly getting worse, Eazy-E went directly from the hospital to the recording studio. During this time, Knockout encountered Eazy in the hallway, where he found him sitting on the floor, wheezing and struggling to breathe. Concerned, Knockout sat down next to him and inquired about his well-being. What he witnessed next was shocking. Eazy pulled out a large manila envelope filled with records allegedly showing millions of dollars missing from the label. He claimed that Jerry Heller had been stealing from him and had been sending him threatening faxes. This revelation paints a disturbing picture of the relationship between Eazy-E and Jerry Heller. It suggests that Heller's alleged financial misconduct and threats may have pushed Eazy to his breaking point. The stress and feeling betrayed may have made his health worse and led to his early death. While the theory implicating Jerry Heller and Eazy-E's death is speculative, it cannot be dismissed outright. The rap industry during that time was rife with power struggles and financial disputes. Eazy's success with Ruthless Records posed a threat to Heller's control and financial interests. The theory suggests that Heller may have resorted to extreme measures to protect his position and maintain his influence over Eazy's career. Jerry Heller vehemently denied any involvement in Eazy-E's death. However, the allegations and suspicions surrounding his actions continue to linger. The unresolved questions surrounding the missing money and the threatening faxes add a layer of intrigue to this theory. Among conspiracy theories surrounding Eazy-E's death, one theory stands out for its shocking nature. This theory is about the alleged involvement of the controversial Jewish Defense League. Before Eazy-E's death, he got involved in a situation where the JDL might have tried to extort money from him. The FBI was looking into this extortion attempt involving Eazy-E and Tupac Shakur by the JDL. The scheme involved telephonic death threats made to rap stars, followed by the JDL offering protection for a fee. The FBI report stated that Eazy-E was a victim of this extortion scheme before his death. The JDL's role in this extortion scheme is raising questions and sparking theories about why they were involved. Critics say the JDL has a history of carrying out terrorist attacks and harassment, which makes people wonder if they had something to do with Eazy-E's death. Even though we don't know exactly what the JDL did, it's clear that there were powerful influences at work in the rap industry. Eazy-E's success with Ruthless Records and his status as a famous rapper made him a target for people. The JDL's suspected extortion scheme makes Eazy-E's death story more complicated. It makes us wonder if someone from the JDL threatened him and if that had anything to do with what happened to him. The FBI's investigation suggests there might be hidden aspects to Eazy-E's life and death. We should be careful when considering the theory that the JDL is responsible for Eazy-E's death, as there is no solid evidence to support this claim. However, the fact that there's an investigation regarding an extortion attempt on him raises suspicions and warrants further investigation. Conspiracy theories often revolve around the idea of a secretive group of powerful people manipulating world events. These theories suggest that significant events like the Kennedy assassination or the Eagles winning a Grammy may not be what they appear to be. Some even point to a supposed recording of Eazy-E's final words as potential evidence that he was trying to reveal a larger conspiracy. While the JDL theory may seem far-fetched to some, it cannot be dismissed outright. In the early 1990s, the industry was rocked by a bitter feud between Eazy-E and his former NWA bandmates, Dr. Dre and Ice Cube. While Ice Cube pursued a successful solo career, Dr. Dre joined forces with Suge Knight, a former bodyguard, to form Death Row Records. This alliance marked the beginning of a tumultuous chapter in Eazy-E's life, ultimately leading to his untimely demise. Rumors began to circulate that Suge Knight held a deep grudge against Eazy-E. The tension between the two escalated to such an extent that Eazy's former manager, Jerry Heller, claimed on the Murder Master Music Show in 2013 that he had to talk Eazy out of killing Knight. Adding fuel to the fire, Suge Knight himself made a cryptic statement during a 2003 appearance on Jimmy Kimmel. When asked about Eazy-E's death, Knight seemed to suggest that there was more to it than met the eye.
So they got this new thing out there, people sell them all the time. They got this stuff they get blood from somebody with AIDS, and then they shoot you with it.
Oh,
so
well, that seems bad.
That's a slow death.
Yeah.
Easy thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, no.
His words left many wondering if he had any involvement in the tragic event. Many people believe Suge Knight may have been involved in Eazy-E's murder. They think this because Knight and Eazy-E were big deals in the music industry. Eazy-E's record label was doing really well, and this success could have hurt Knight's music empire. So some say Knight might have had a reason to want Eazy-E gone. But what evidence supports this theory? While concrete proof may be elusive, several intriguing incidents raise eyebrows. Let's look at it from the beginning. Suge Knight in the mix. Behind the scenes of NWA's rise to fame, tensions began to grow within the group. Eazy-E, as the founder of Ruthless Records, held a significant amount of control over the financial aspects of NWA's success. This power dynamic, combined with creative differences and personal conflicts, ultimately led to the infamous breakup of the group. One of the key factors contributing to the dissolution of NWA was the departure of Dr. Dre from the group. Dre had become increasingly dissatisfied with the financial arrangements within NWA and the control exerted by Eazy-E. In 1991, Dre decided to part ways with the group and seek new opportunities. This departure marked a turning point in Eazy-E's relationship with his former bandmates. The once tight-knit group was now fractured, with tensions running high. Eazy-E felt betrayed by Dre's departure and saw it as a personal attack on his authority within the group. It was during this tumultuous period that Marion Suge Knight, the co-founder of Death Row Records, entered the picture. Suge Knight was known for his imposing presence and reputation as a shrewd businessman. He saw an opportunity to capitalize on the discord within NWA and approached Eazy-E with a proposition. According to various accounts, Suge Knight allegedly offered Eazy-E protection and financial support in exchange for signing over the rights to Dr. Dre's contract. Other accounts said Suge threatened him. Eazy-E, feeling vulnerable and betrayed, agreed to the deal, effectively transferring Dre's contract to Death Row Records. This move further deepened the divide between Eazy-E and the rest of NWA. Ice Cube, who had already left the group before Dre's departure, was also at odds with Eazy-E. Ice Cube had been vocal about his dissatisfaction with the financial arrangements within NWA and felt that Eazy-E exploited the group's success for personal gain. As tensions escalated, the feud between Eazy-E and his former bandmates played out in the public eye. Diss tracks were released, with Eazy-E taking shots at Dre and Cube and vice versa. In 1995, tragedy struck when Eazy-E was diagnosed with AIDS. The news sent shockwaves through the music industry and the rap community.
The rap world was stunned to learn in a press conference held by his lawyer that Eazy-E had been admitted to Cedars-Sinai Hospital in Los Angeles and diagnosed as suffering from full-blown AIDS.
Eazy-E's health rapidly deteriorated, and on March 26, 1995, he tragically passed away at the age of 31.
Eazy-E has died in Los Angeles after a battle with AIDS. Wright was 31.
In the aftermath of Eazy-E's death, rumors began to circulate about the circumstances surrounding his illness. Sensational claims emerged, suggesting that Suge Knight had played a role in infecting Eazy-E with the AIDS virus. These claims alleged that Suge Knight had connections to individuals involved in the distribution of tainted needles and used these connections to carry out his sinister plan. However, it is important to note that these allegations remain unproven and controversial. The true cause of Eazy-E's contraction of AIDS has been a subject of speculation and debate. While some believe in the conspiracy theories surrounding Suge Knight's involvement, others argue that it resulted from Eazy-E's personal choices and lifestyle. After Eazy-E's death, there were investigations to find out how he got AIDS. The police looked at his medical records and talked to people who knew him, but they couldn't prove that Suge Knight had anything to do with it. Even though there was no solid proof, people kept talking about Suge Knight's possible involvement in Eazy-E's death. One theory suggests that Suge Knight wanted revenge and to get rid of his rivals, so he planned to infect Eazy-E with AIDS. Another theory proposes that Eazy-E's contraction of AIDS was a result of his personal choices and lifestyle. It is said that Eazy-E engaged in promiscuous behavior and had multiple sexual partners. Some argue that his lifestyle put him at a higher risk of contracting the virus, and his diagnosis was a consequence of his own actions rather than a deliberate act by Suge Knight. However, if you think the rumors linking Suge Knight to Eazy-E's death are reaching, then you clearly know nothing about the man. Suge Marion Knight Jr. was born on April 19, 1965 in Compton, California. His nickname Suge came from his childhood nickname Sugar Bear. He was good at sports, especially football and track, during his time at Linwood High School, where he graduated in 1983. Suge was linked to the mob Peru Bloods, a significant part of the Bloods gang. After high school, he played football at El Camino College from 1983 to 1985. Then he continued his sports career at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas. In 1987, Suge Knight didn't get drafted into the NFL, but he did get a chance to play a couple of games for the Los Angeles Rams during the 1987 NFL Players' Strike, showing his football talent. After his brief NFL stint, Suge Knight changed careers. He worked in concert promotion and provided security for celebrities like Bobby Brown. In 1989, he made a big splash in the music industry by convincing Vanilla Ice to give up royalties for Ice Ice Baby because it sounded like music from one of Knight's clients, Mario Johnson. There were even stories of intense conflicts between Knight and Vanilla Ice, with one tale claiming Knight dangled Vanilla Ice off a hotel balcony by his ankle. Later on, he started a company to manage artists, working with famous West Coast hip-hop musicians like DJ Quick and The Doc. His connection with The Doc led to him getting to know Dr. Dre. In 1991, The Doc and Dr. Dre joined forces to start Death Row Records with Knight. They signed a deal with Interscope, and Dr. Dre released his solo album called The Chronic in 1992. It was a massive hit, going triple platinum in the US by the end of 1993. This album also kickstarted Snoop Dogg's career, and his first album, Doggy Style, became a big success, reaching quadruple platinum in the US in 1994. Knight also had a fancy nightclub in Las Vegas called Club 662. It was super exclusive, and you needed an appointment to get in. The name was clever. It spelled out mob on phone keypads, meaning member of Bloods. In the music world, Death Row was known for its ties to crime and extravagance. Suge Knight, the CEO, would casually hand Tupac a big stack of $100 bills to cover his weekend expenses. Their office in Los Angeles was all decked out in red, the color linked to the Bloods gang. There was a security guard with a metal detector outside the Death Row studio. A music veteran from LA who worked with Tupac said it was the strictest security he'd ever seen at a studio. The studio only let certain people carry weapons, so if you see someone with a weapon, they're allowed to have it. Even if you somehow get inside, a tough security team will show up fast. Some of these guards were in prison before, and they have a strong presence without saying anything. Suge Knight was known for using intimidation in his business dealings. He once made a rival music executive undress and walked naked through his office. When dealing with executives from big entertainment companies, there was always a sense of threat. In one case, he had a bodyguard who subtly showed a gun during a negotiation. The violent environment played in Knight's favor. It gave him a lot of power, letting him make other executives wait and avoid paying money to music and video producers. People were scared scared to complain or involve the police in looking into questionable practices. Despite the violence, Knight still did business with two major players in the entertainment industry. His company, Death Row Records, got financial support from Interscope, which was partly owned by Time Warner, and later, Universal bought half of the label. In 1992, Dr. Dre invited two aspiring rappers, Linwood and George Stanley, to the studio to record their music. However, they had an unforgettable encounter with Suge Knight. Linwood accidentally used a phone meant for Harry O, a drug kingpin financing Death Row from prison. Suge noticed this and gave Linwood a chance to leave peacefully. Linwood, unaware of the danger, replied defiantly. Suge got angry, pulled out a gun, and forced them to undress, beating them. He also took their IDs to keep them quiet. After this ordeal, Linwood and George Stanley filed a lawsuit against Suge Knight to seek justice. Instead of facing the consequences, Suge tried to bribe the prosecuting attorney by offering a record deal to the attorney's daughter, Gina Longo. This corrupt deal didn't go unnoticed, and the prosecutor, Larry Longo, was fired from the Los Angeles District Attorney's office. A year later, a similar incident happened with Happy David Walters, a big name in 90s hip-hop. He managed famous artists and co-owned a record label. Walters went missing after taking money from an ATM in Los Angeles and was gone for 2 days. People reported him missing. When they found him in Long Beach, he had injuries and a shaved head. He said he couldn't remember what happened, but many suspected Suge Knight was involved. Suge Knight wanted to sign RZA, who was managed by Happy Walters, for his new record label. Walters had dissed Suge on a soundtrack, so some people thought Suge might have been behind Walters' disappearance. Not surprisingly, Walters let RZA go and left his label. Walter also left the music industry and later found success in sports entertainment, owning Catalyst Sports and Media. Suge Knight also had a big feud with East Coast rapper Sean Combs, also known as Diddy. It started in August 1995 when Knight publicly insulted Diddy for always interfering with his artists' videos and songs.
Any artists out there want to be an artist and want to stay a star, don't want to have to worry about the executive producer trying to be all in the videos, all on the records, dancing. Come to Death Row.
During this feud, Conrad Tillard, known as the hip-hop minister of the Nation of Islam, tried to make peace between Diddy and Knight. He got some tough guys from his mosque to protect Diddy because there were threats from Knight's gangster associates. In the late 1980s, MC Hammer had a connection with Knight. Hammer found success with his album The Funky Headhunter in 1994 and later signed a deal with Death Row Records in 1995. Although his album Too Tight was never released under Death Row, he collaborated with Tupac Shakur and others on songs like Too Late Playa. However, after Tupac Shakur's tragic death, Hammer left Death Row Records because he had concerns about how Tupac died. Around the same time, Dr. Dre was also uncomfortable with the label's violent reputation and Knight's behavior. So he left Death Row Records and created his own label called Aftermath Entertainment. After Tupac Shakur and Biggie Smalls died, people wondered if Suge Knight had something to do with it. Although he was never officially accused, some believed he might have been behind it. A detective named Russell Poole had a theory that Knight could have planned Tupac's murder to keep him from leaving his record label. Then, he might have set up Biggie's killing to divert suspicion from himself.
Details of this case play out like a Hollywood movie. Rapper Tupac Shakur is gunned down in September of 1996. 6 months later, rapper Notorious B.I.G. is shot to death in Los Angeles.
Both Biggie and Tupac gunned down in their prime within months of each other. It may involve a long-rumored rap feud said to be going on between Death Row Records and Bad Boy Entertainment.
However, legal cases based on these ideas were later thrown out. Eazy-E's incident also shed more light on the type of person Suge Knight was. Their relationship was full of conflict, especially when they were creating Death Row Records. At one point, Suge Knight supposedly assaulted Eazy-E because he wouldn't release Dr. Dre from Ruthless Records. Later, on Jimmy Kimmel Live, Suge Knight made a disturbing comment about using HIV/AIDS-infected blood for murder. In 2006, Knight got sued by Lydia Harris, who said she was cheated out of ownership in Death Row Records. This lawsuit caused Knight to go bankrupt, and a trustee took control of the label due to poor management. Because of money problems, Knight sold his fancy house in Malibu, and in 2008, put Death Row Records up for sale. Later, another company called Wide Awake Entertainment bought the label, and Snoop Dogg later bought the label from them. In 2009, they sold off some of Suge Knight's stuff after his record company, Death Row Records, went bankrupt. Suge Knight is in jail at R.J. Donovan Correctional Facility. He got a 28-year sentence for manslaughter and can't ask for parole until October 2034.
Marion Suge Knight is headed back to prison. Today, a Los Angeles judge sentenced the 53-year-old co-founder of Death Row Records to 28 years in jail.
Now that we know what kind of person Suge is, it's clear why people think he's got a hand in Eazy-E's death. Let's look at the life of the father of gangsta rap. Early life in NWA. In the streets of Compton, California, a young Eric Wright, better known as Eazy-E, was about to change the face of hip-hop forever. Born on September 7, 1964, Eazy-E grew up in a neighborhood plagued by gang violence and poverty. His dad worked at the post office, and his mom was a school administrator. He didn't like school and left in his second year, but that didn't stop him. He later got a GED. According to Eazy, surviving the tough streets was an art. People had to wear different masks to protect themselves from the harsh environment. You had to act like a thug, a player, an athlete, a gangster, or a drug dealer to fit in. If not, you were seen as a victim. Eazy hustled to make a living, mainly by selling drugs. He even got his own cousin involved in the illegal business. Jerry Heller, the man who managed his music career, saw him selling marijuana, although he said he didn't deal with cocaine. To Eazy, being known as a drug dealer was not just a job, but also a way to protect himself. He acted tough because he had to. He grew up in a dangerous neighborhood and wasn't physically imposing. Being seen as a thug was like a shield, a signal that people shouldn't mess with him. In 1986, when he was just 22 years old, he made around $250,000 from selling drugs. But things took a different turn when his cousin died tragically. This made him rethink his life, and he thought he could find a better way to make a living. Eazy-E found himself drawn to the emerging genre of gangsta rap, which reflected the harsh realities of life in the inner city. Inspired by the likes of Ice-T and Schoolie D, he decided to take matters into his own hands and create a platform for his voice to be heard. In the mid-1980s, he started making music in his parents' garage, and that's how Ruthless Records began. He approached Jerry Heller with a proposal. They considered a 50-50 partnership at first, but eventually agreed on a deal where he would get 80% of the company's money and Heller would get 20%. Heller explained that he'd take 20 cents from every dollar the company made. Ruthless Records became a label that would become synonymous with the West Coast rap scene. With his entrepreneurial spirit and street smarts, Eazy-E began assembling a group of talented artists who would later form the legendary rap group NWA. One of the key figures Eazy-E recruited was Andre Young, better known as Dr. Dre. With his unparalleled production skills, Dr. Dre became the backbone of NWA's sound, crafting hard-hitting beats that perfectly complemented Eazy-E's aggressive and unapologetic lyrics. In 1987, NWA released their debut album, NWA and the Posse, which laid the foundation for their future success. But it was their groundbreaking second album, Straight Outta Compton, that truly catapulted them into the spotlight. Released in 1988, the album was a raw and unfiltered depiction of life in Compton, tackling issues such as police brutality and racial inequality. The song Straight Outta Compton was a big deal in the rap community. It became a favorite for young people who felt left out and got people all over the country talking. It was groundbreaking because it pushed the limits and caused a stir with its explicit words and no-nonsense depiction of life on the streets. NWA's meteoric rise to fame was not without its challenges. The group faced immense backlash from law enforcement and conservative groups who deemed their music as promoting violence and criminal behavior. But this only fueled their determination to speak their truth and shed light on the harsh realities of their environment. As NWA's popularity soared, Eazy-E's larger-than-life persona symbolized rebellion and authenticity. With his signature voice and menacing demeanor, he captivated audiences and solidified his status as one of the most influential figures in hip-hop. But behind the scenes, tensions began to simmer within the group. This would ultimately contribute to the group's disbandment in 1991. Despite the dissolution of NWA, Eazy-E continued to make waves in the industry. He released his debut solo album, Eazy Does It, in 1988, showcasing his unique style and cementing his status as a solo artist. While Eazy-E's career was reaching new heights, his personal life was not without its fair share of controversies and legal troubles. As a prominent figure in the rap industry, he found himself constantly under the scrutiny of the media and law enforcement. In 1989, Eazy-E faced legal troubles when he was arrested for assault. The incident occurred during a concert in Arizona, where he allegedly attacked a concert promoter. The arrest further fueled the perception of Eazy-E as a volatile and unpredictable figure. In 1995, Eazy-E was diagnosed with AIDS, a devastating blow that sent shockwaves through the music industry. The news of his illness came as a surprise to many, as Eazy-E had kept his health condition private. Tragically, Eazy-E's health rapidly deteriorated, and on March 26, 1995, he passed away at the age of 30. His death sent shockwaves throughout the music industry and left a void that could never be filled. The loss of such a talented and influential artist was a devastating blow to the hip-hop community. In the wake of Eazy-E's untimely death, the music industry mourned the loss of a true icon. In the years following Eazy-E's death, investigations were launched to determine the cause of his infection. It was revealed that he had contracted HIV, which eventually progressed to AIDS. Medical professionals confirmed that Eazy-E was infected. Also, revelations about his personal life and business dealings shed new light on the complexities surrounding his death. It was revealed that Eazy-E had fathered several children with different women, leading to disputes over his estate and inheritance inheritance? Although Eazy-E's life was cut tragically short, his impact on the hip-hop industry continues to reverberate to this day. His raw and unfiltered style, coupled with his unapologetic lyrics, solidified his status as a true pioneer in the genre. Eazy-E's legacy extends far beyond his controversial persona, as his influence on future artists and the enduring relevance of his music cannot be overstated. One of the most significant aspects of Eazy-E's legacy is his role in forming NWA, the group's groundbreaking album Straight Outta Compton. Not only pushed the boundaries of hip-hop, but also sparked a cultural revolution. Beyond NWA, Eazy-E's solo career further solidified his influence on the genre. His album's success proved that Eazy-E's impact extended beyond the confines of the group, and his solo work continued to resonate with fans. Eazy-E's smart business moves and creativity helped change the rap industry. He started Ruthless Records, giving artists a place to be themselves. This label was a big part of West Coast rap and made many artists famous. Furthermore, Eazy-E's influence can be seen in the emergence of gangsta rap as a dominant force in hip-hop. His raw and sometimes controversial lyrics inspired other artists to tackle similar topics and be more creative. His impact on the rap industry cannot be overstated, as his contributions laid the foundation for a new wave of artists who would continue to challenge societal norms and push the boundaries of artistic expression. Eazy-E's music still connects with people of all ages. His songs like Boys in the Hood and Real G's are like anthems for those who want real and truthful music. He had a special talent for turning street life into powerful lyrics, showing how his artistry and importance in music continue to shine. Our man Eazy didn't die by a bullet, but by a virus that knows no boundaries. And as much as we want the X-Files to be real, sometimes a cigar is just a cigar. Maybe Eazy's death wasn't a grand conspiracy. Maybe it was a tragic consequence. If you enjoyed this video, click on the card showing on your screen right now for more videos.